Alhamdulillah, Assalamualaikum everybody. Welcome to another episode of the MMF Podcast. We've taken a break for Ramadan, we've taken a break for Shawwal, but here's the first episode in a while. And to remain relevant, not to remain relevant, but to talk about the most current event right now. Orange Man is in power. Oh my God. How many of you know who Donald Trump is? Kalau korang tak tahu,
Trump.
Donald Seram. Right. So obviously the topic is one of the biggest things happening in the market right now. The Donald Trump presidency, second term, and all his market shenanigans, all his tweets, all his policies, his flip-flopping. What the hell is gonna happen to the market for the next foreseeable future? Who knows? So, gentlemen, what have you heard from the market? In the news, what have you been watching? Let me know. Apa. Let's start with Asri. Asri tadi cakap apa?
I saw a post recently, him congratulating, I think, two people, who made millions or billions of dollars when he flipped the idea of imposing the tariffs. I didn't read the article in full, so I was wondering what that was about actually.
So what do you think it was?
To me, it sounded fishy, to be honest. So it's
Okay.
like, at the same time, did he make money?
Obviously, he may not necessarily show it, but confirm he make money, man. It's just whether we know about it or not. One, what do you hear?
I hear he say something to do with the bond market. That's the last thing I hear about him lah. Actually, something like the bond market going up, and then like I solved the bond market, the US bond market, that kind of thing. Yeah, from whatever action that he took, the tariff punya incident or episode.
Tariffs.
Yeah.
This country, the best. Our tariffs are the best tariffs. They are gonna pay all of us.
Stop like that.
So what do you hear about President Trump?
Yeah, basically his imposition of tariffs on countries, on targeted tariffs on key countries lah, basically including Southeast Asia, whereby the rest of the Southeast Asia was given 25% increase of tariffs. Philippines was given 17%, but Singapore was given only 10%. Yeah. Then after when China retaliated, then he decided to take a pause on it, and so it affected the market volatility.
One wanted to say something, man. What was it?
Oh, I want to know what is tariff.
Tariff, the best.
Tariff is it a tax imposed when a country buy something from another country, so that country that we buying tax us? Is that tariff?
What do you guys think?
Because it seems a bit chim word. I mean, for those normal people, I mean, even our prime minister also talk about it. Yeah.
What I think is that, for example, is Microsoft is bringing in parts to actually make their computer. They are impose tariffs, those taxes to bring in those parts. So what Trump is actually trying is actually making Microsoft in a way to build those parts in America to avoid those taxes. So in a way, making America great again. That's why you see those posts, those Americans working in factory lines, creating parts. So yes. But yeah, if that's his idea of making America great again, yeah.
Or giving them more opportunity to his people. That's what he say.
In a way.
That's what he say. Okay. I understand. All right.
So let's talk about that, making America great again, right? So his whole purpose, what he talks about, let's not talk about his intention. What he talks about is he wants to bring back manufacturing made in America by American. Yes. So they're hoping that, okay, if we make it more expensive, to buy imported goods, then the locals, the Americans, will then buy local goods. Yes? That's the idea behind it. Therefore, let's bring back manufacturing to the US so that the locals will buy local. Don't support the other countries. Yes? That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. Then we're going to talk about the tariffs for a bit. So we think, right, or rather on the surface, it seems that when he imposes tariffs on the other countries, they pay more. Right? That's the idea, that's the surface level impression. Okay, I'm going to put tariffs on China and China's going to pay us. Yeah, we're going to make the money back. Yeah. That's not true. When he does the tariffs, the local population, the Americans, are the ones who are paying more. This is how it works. Asri got the right point. We import, Microsoft, for example, imports the raw materials into the US, then to manufacture in the US, roughly like that. So let's take another example. We know that China manufactures a lot of products available everywhere. Pretty much, they say that the world is made in China, yes? And so, buying stuff, let's be very general, buying stuff from China cheaper than buying stuff locally, especially manufactured goods, because the cost of manufacture is much lower in China than it is in the US, yes? So if I bring in the items from China, I am an importer, I import from China, I pay, for example, the vendor in China $1,000, example. I pay them $1,000, I get this set number of items, I bring it in, I'm an American, I sell it to the local population for $10,000. Right? Halal, because I import, I sell it to the population, done. What Trump's saying is when I impose tariffs on China, China needs to pay more. But that's not true. The importer now has to pay double because of the 100% tariffs. So he pays $1,000 to the Chinese vendor. He needs to pay an additional $1,000 to the US government. And then he already out 2,000, right? You think he's going to sell the product same at 10,000 or he's going to double it?
Double it.
Double it. I need to make back my money, what? So when the population, the US American citizens need to buy the products from this same fella, you think they pay less or they pay more?
More.
So in the end, who's really paying the tariffs?
The locals.
Their own citizen.
You got it. Their own citizens. And herein lies the problem. Because the US manufacturing sector is so underdeveloped compared to the other countries. There's a reason why they buy from China. Because China has all the factories set up, the cheap labor, the cheap raw materials to manufacture and produce these goods. It's cheaper for America to import these things that are already made and then sell it to the local population. Versus, I need to go and build a factory in the US. I need to go and hire a US citizen to go and work in the factory to produce the same good, the same product. Standard of living, cost of living, higher in China or higher in the US?
US.
Higher US.
Currency, Chinese yuan, US dollar, which one's stronger?
US dollar.
I have to pay my workers in a stronger currency, and on top of that, I need to pay them more because the cost of living and standard of living is higher, correct? Versus, I take US dollar, I buy Chinese yuan, I pay the fellas in China who are lower standard of living, lower cost of living because of the currency difference. Make sense? So in the end, who are the real victims of tariffs?
Americans.
Americans.
Dumbass.
Wow.
That's item number one. Okay? So we are very, very clear. Very, very clear that tariffs. Their trading partners are not the ones paying the tariffs. The locals are. So their cost of living suddenly increased. Remember when we talked about when it comes to economy, when cost of living, cost of goods and services go up, do people spend less or spend more?
Less.
And then when they spend less, what happens to the companies? Do they earn more or they earn less?
Less.
Less.
They earn less. And then when companies' revenue earn less, do they hire more people or do they cut jobs?
Cut.
Cut jobs, right? Then when they cut jobs, does the company grow or the company shrink?
Shrink.
Shrink. If one company does it, not so bad. If all the company do it, what happened to the economy? Economy go up, economy go down.
Recession. Explode.
Implosion.
Implode.
Implosion. Okay? That one is only on tariffs.
Wow.
If he had only just said, okay, we're just going to impose tariffs, just tariffs, that's it, wouldn't be as bad as we're going to reverse the tariffs.
What?
So what does it mean when he said reverse the tariffs?
We're going to pause the tariffs for 90 days. Yeah, we're not going to have tariffs for the next 90 days. We're going to pause it. And then after that, he said, oh, there's an exemption on mobile phones and electronics and stuff. And then after that, he said, no, now the tariffs are back. Tariffs are back. We're going to increase the tariffs on China. It used to be 50%. Now it's 100%. Yeah, we're increasing tariffs on China. They're going to pay. Do you think that somebody who changes his mind, like that Katy Perry song, changes your mind like a girl, changes clothes? I don't know what song that I just heard it. Macam tukar suara dalam. Right? He changes his mind back, forth. Yeah, tariffs today, no tariffs tomorrow, no tariffs are back. Do you think somebody who changes his mind just like that gives you confidence? Can you trust somebody who changes his mind like kita tukar suara dalam?
No lah. Undecisive.
It used that the US government and the US dollar and the US economy was one of the most trustworthy economies and countries in the world. Do you all agree with that statement?
Yep.
Yes.
Right? There's a reason why the USD was the reserve currency. Right? You have US dollar, no problem. I can accept anywhere. Yes? Compared to the Zimbabwe dollar, you all dare to hold? They have a $1 trillion note, bros. Go and Google this. Those of us listening, watching the episode today, go and Google the Zimbabwe $1 trillion note. It's real. Which would you rather hold? US dollar or Zimbabwe $1 trillion note?
US dollars, of course.
Of course, US dollars. But why do we want to hold US dollars? Because we trust that the USD will retain its value and is accepted everywhere else. But what happens when you no longer trust that country or that US dollar?
On that note, which country's currency has been performing well? I mean, I feel like Singapore's currency has been doing well.
For those of our watchers, our listeners today, if you're holding on to the Sing dollar, you are in an okay position. We're fine. We'll be A-okay, simply because the trust in the Sing dollar and the trust in the Singapore government is very, very high, especially us as Singapore citizens, alhamdulillah. But if you compare to what used to be a powerhouse, used to be a very trustworthy country, going through what is going through right now, what do you think is going to happen to their economy? If any of you are listening right now, and guys, if you have access to your laptops right now, pull up the S&P 500 chart. Just pull it up, you will see what I mean. Now, while you guys are doing that, Asri, just now you said, wow, I'm proud of some of us who have made money. Yes? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we come to the topic of insider trading. Right? If I know what's going to happen to the market, and I tell you before I tell the public, that's insider trading, right? Because you can then take advantage of the knowledge before the general public does. And there have been clear evidence of what Donald Trump is doing is basically insider trading, right?
But he's immune, right?
Say again?
He's immune, right?
Immune?
Because he's
Immune?
president. He's a president.
No, president doesn't mean you're immune to crimes, by the way. In fact, one of the things about the US presidency is that the US president is held accountable to more standards than the average person. You president, you can murder people. No one. Because when you're president, aren't your actions more scrutinized? But it seems in the past 3 months that whatever he's been doing, which is very close to criminal activity, has not been investigated, has not raised any red flags.
In the works.
I don't know, man. I don't know. To be frank with you, if you just read the news, there are calls for investigation, but nothing's happening. And if you remember when he first took power,
Similar.
what did they do? They fire a lot of government employees, right?
His investigation suddenly just went quiet.
If that's not a sign of corruption or not a sign of insider knowledge, of trying to control things before it happens, I don't know what is. So, pull up the S&P 500 chart yet?
Yeah.
What is it year to date?
Can't seem to find it.
Oh, wow. guys. All you have to do is literally go, because for all our listeners right now, go into Google, put in SP500, one word, space index. The first chart you will see is the market summary of the S&P 500 index. Look at the year-to-date number, just click YTD. It will show you at the point of this recording, minus 7.88%.
Bestnya.
Bestnya. For you and me, yeah, maybe bestnya lah, because we know something is happening, yes? If you look at the 1 year chart, just take the 1 year chart, you can look on the extreme right side. Can you see the drop on 2nd of April 2025 from 5,600 points to 8th of April 2025, 4,982 points. A 600 point drop in a matter of a week. That is almost 10% in less than a week. In fact, once you start looking at the chart, you realize from January, when he took power, the market has been steadily going down, down, down. And for the vast majority of our listeners today, one of the things I always say, when we invest, what's rule number 1? Guys, what's my number 1 rule with our clients?
What's your intended outcome?
That's the first question I ask. What's number 1 rule? That when you want to invest for a minimum of
5 years.
5 years.
5 years. Okay? And so for the rest of us who are investing today, look ahead 5 years. Yes, it's going to be bloody scary. Yes, you're going to hear a lot of bad news. Do you think we will outlive Donald Trump? The dude, how old is he? 70 plus?
Inshallah.
How old is he? Exactly. He's 78 years old. I thought he was 75. Sorry, I was wrong. 78 years old. We know that life expectancy for a male is about 85 to 88. Donald Trump's presidential term is how long?
4 years.
4 years.
3 years. Yes, there's rumors that he's going to try to run for a 3rd term, etc., and change the constitution. Not easy to do. But let's look at the reality of it. Dude's pushing 80. And if you look at the S&P 500 chart, you just click max. You can see for the past 40 years of data. I turned 41 this year for everybody involved. We have lived through multiple market crises. We have lived through multiple recessions. We are going to be around long after Donald Trump is gone. And so market dropped 10%. How many of you tell me hooray? Hooray.
Hooray.
Power
So,
lah.
what's the first H in the halal investing formula? There, here on my screen behind me.
Habitual investing.
What does that mean, Wan?
Make it a habit to invest. Dollar cost averaging. Yeah.
You
All
got
this
it.
lah. Yep.
Right. Remember, dollar cost averaging is the number one formula in the halal investing formula, the first and most important strategy in the halal investing formula. Dollar cost averaging. Market drop, buy. Market drop next month, buy. Market drop some more, buy. Keep buying. For the next 4 years, Donald Trump is going to screw up the market. For us, hooray! It's a fantastic buying opportunity. How many of you agree with me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course
Definitely.
lah. Kalau korang tak agree dengan aku, aku takut.
Oh, don't buy.
One, you attend. Actually, Wan and Asri both have attended the Halal Investor Masterclass or the Halal Investor course. Either one, right? Tell me, what do I teach you guys when markets are chaotic right now? Like right now.
Just buy. Just buy. Yeah.
Don't look at the market, just buy.
Yeah.
Tahan. It's okay. This shall pass.
Yeah.
It's not you shall not pass, not that one. This shall pass. And we have lived through multiple painful economic
Market
crisis,
Yeah.
economic crisis, market crisis, and we are still here.
None of us here are below 30, right?
No, I wish.
None of us here are below 35. Yes?
So sad.
So, let's work backwards. Work backwards, huh? Okay. 2025, Donald Trump took power. Market crash. 2022, the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. Israel invading Palestine again. May all our brothers and sisters in Palestine get shifa, inshallah. Prior to that, 2020, what happened? COVID. Oh, sorry, 2021, Russia invaded Ukraine.
Russia, yes.
Right? Then
Russia,
COVID.
Ukraine.
Before COVID was what?
Don't know.
2015. Donald Trump again took power. US-China trade war. Before that, 2011 was the Greek debt crisis. Before 2011, 2008 global financial crisis. Before 2008, had SARS in 2003. Before SARS, Twin Towers, September 11. Before September 11, year 2000, dot-com crisis, dot-com bubble. Before year 2000, 1997, 1998, Asian financial crisis. One, what were you doing in 1997?
Play game
Asri,
school,
what were you doing?
97?
Ah.
I was 10 years old, man.
7, I'm 9 years old.
My only concern was going to the shops, getting candy.
Good. 1997 kau tengah buat apa?
12 years old, probably transiting to secondary school.
Sama, 1997, aku Sec 1. Nak cari girlfriend, nak cari candy. Yeah, man. Then, 30 years later, here we are. Has the market gone up?
Yes.
Have we lived through all of that? So the biggest lesson in the S&P 500 chart, if you can pull up the 40-year chart, even better, is this. The world goes on. The world goes on. Whether it's a Donald Trump, whether it's another virus, whether it's a war, whether it's a currency crisis, the world goes on. Why? If the world doesn't go on, to the kiamat. The kiamat, does your money even matter? No. But the world goes on. Why? People need to live. People require goods and services. Population is growing. People have problems that need to be solved. Those businesses which produce goods and services to solve those problems will always come up. Now, I cannot tell you what's the new problem coming up. I cannot tell you which company will do well. Because if you think about it, 20 years ago, iPhone 1 was first launched. Now it's iPhone 16, is it? 15, is it? 20 years ago, Nokia was like the golden child. Everybody had Nokia. Today, siapa pakai Nokia? Right? The only Nokia I heard was my friend sell his Kia. Then Nokia. Bodoh. So the easiest way for anybody today to start investing is to buy the bloody market, buy the entire market. Right?
Yes.
Don't pick a stock. Because 20 years ago, people buy Nokia. 40 years ago, people buy Kodak.
Oh.
Ah,
Dah lama sih tak dengar tu.
Kodak. For those our listeners, Kodak tu apa? Go and Google. Kodak. Kodak. Okay? If you don't know what it is, also go and Google. Camera, film. Film.
Film.
What's that? So 40 years ago was Kodak. 20 years ago was Nokia. Today, in the world of AI, could any of the tech companies go kaput?
Yeah.
But we know that the market continues going on and on and on and on. So if you cannot beat the market, you don't know which company to buy all of them, buy the entire index. So my advice to everybody today, if you don't know what to buy, you don't know how to invest, just invest into the index. That's it. Dollar cost average into the index for the next 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 years, inshallah, will be okay. But of course, the standard disclaimer comes in because now kita finfluencer, kan? I have to say, this does not constitute financial advice. You need to speak to a qualified professional, just like us. Please book a call with us before you make any investment decisions. We'll be more than happy to help you along the way. Gentlemen, that's the end of today's episode. Do you have any questions?
Nope.
No.
Afiq, when you said speak to any one of us, the viewers out there, please don't start asking question and pause and then play and then we answer konon and then crop edit
DM.
Send us a DM. We'll be more than happy to help. Okay? And so for all our listeners today, if you haven't started investing, it's now a good time. It's a fantastic time. As long as you follow rule number 1. Invest for a minimum of
5 years.
5 years.
My name is Afiq, Chief Finance Leader at Modern Muslim Finance. These are my brothers from other mothers. We've got Rizwan, say hi.
Hi.
You got Asri, say hi. Dia tak kata hi, dia macam gitu je. And we've got Zul, say hi.
Hi.
Okay?
Hi.
So whenever you see one, say hi one. Get it? So folks, again, thank you for listening. Do look out for the next one. Me and my brothers will be more than happy to help you all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a belated Selamat Hari Raya.
Raya.